Hello there. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I hope you can. Is everybody ready for a new quiz? Another 36, 37 questions that are going to check your English knowledge. Oops, I can hear myself. We need to turn down the phone volume and continue talking here. So, how is everyone doing? Hello, Lazar. Hello, Dayan. Hello, Magdalena. Hello, Yatsa. Welcome on board. I hope wherever you are in the world, the weather today was good and not scorching hot. That is one thing that I'm worried about because no matter where my students are from, whether they're from Germany, Russia, Poland, Portugal, they're all complaining about one thing, and that is the high temperatures. Hello, Sarah. How was the temperature in Italy today? Was it scorching hot or was it comfortable? I hope it was the latter. The latter meaning the second in a pair. So, folks, when you are ready, just write ready in the chat and we will start. Obviously, more people are going to join later, but we have around 38, 39 questions in total. So we shouldn't waste any time if we don't plan on staying here until the dawn, until the new day starts. So when you're ready, let me know and we'll kick things off. I told Yusuf yesterday he's got to come tonight, but he has a valid excuse. He's watching his favorite team, Fenerbahce, play. So that's why we won't wait for him. And Fenerbahce is currently leading 2-0. So I think he could come. I mean, his team has already won. But okay, Magdalena is ready. Folks in the chat, I hope you are ready too, because the quiz is going to start now. Let us kick things off. Let me know if the music is too loud. I don't think it is. I couldn't focus on my work because the person at the next desk wouldn't stop blank about their weekend. A, yapping, B, whistling, C, haggling, D, slurping. What was the person doing about their weekend? What could you do at an office? And what are you going to do about your weekends? Are you going to yap about it, whistle about it, slurp about it, or haggle about it? What seems the most likely as the most likely option? Magdalena says A. Does anybody have other thoughts? Or does everybody think that A is indeed correct? I'll be waiting for your answers, folks. Yatsa thinks it's A2. Okay, I guess that we should go with A. Let's find out if that is the correct answer. And it is yapping. Well done. To yap is an informal term for speaking a lot. So it is not something that you will see in dictionaries, not the official ones at least, but it is a common word used by young people in English speaking countries. So the person was yapping about their weekend. Let's move on to the next question. The word is pronounced as, how do we pronounce this one? Is it debt? Is it dipt? Is it det? Or deb? Which pronunciation is correct? This is a new type of question, something we haven't had so far, to test how you would actually pronounce the word. So once again, debt, dipt, det, or deb? Which one sounds good? Which one do you think is correct? This is something that many people would fail Even some higher level speakers will have trouble with this. Miranda, welcome back. Good to see you again. And everybody seems to agree with Miranda. Okay. And Sarah says A. Sarah, why A? Why A? There is. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Or maybe you were talking about the previous question. Guys, Sarah is behind on the stream, so she was talking about yapping. I understand what the problem was. Don't worry, Sarah. But here the correct answer is C, det. So the B is silent. Great job, everyone. Question 3. To finally reach an agreement, both sides had to make several blank and give up some of their original demands. This is something from the lesson with Magdalena. Several ultimatums, several concessions, several stalemates, or several leverages. What is the correct answer? Here is some business vocabulary. Magdalena, we expect the correct answer here. I know what happened, Sarah. Don't worry. I realized because we covered this word. Okay, Miranda was the first one again. And Sarah says A. Okay. What do the others think? Yasa goes for C. Perfect. We have 3 different responses. Magdalena goes for B. Okay, so Miranda and Magdalena think it's B, concessions. Let's find out what the correct answer is. It was B, concessions. Concessions are your sacrifices. They are the things you are going to give up in order to make the deal happen. So if I want something and the other person says, no, it is not possible, if I want to make the deal happen, I will have to make that concession and give up on my demands to reach the deal. So essentially, it is part of making compromises. You have to make concessions. Let's move on. Question 4. The manager's instructions were so blank that nobody in the team knew exactly what they were supposed to do. Okay, what could be the word here? They were so pleasing, so gloomy, so far-fetched, or so vague. Which one works the best here? Speaking of something that is not clear, so the instructions were not clear, and that's why they couldn't understand them. They were not sure what to do. Miranda says D, Sarah says D, Magdalena says D. Everybody knows it is D. Is everyone wrong? No. Good job, guys. Question 5. When shopping at the local market, it is completely normal to blank with the sellers to get a lower price. Handle, haggle, harden, hamper. A lot of H's here, but which one is correct? I think if you follow the stream, you'll know we only use 2 of these words, and I explained one of them stands for your social media username in some contexts, and the other is used here. Yes. Many people think it is B. Sarah agrees with Miranda. Radek agrees with them. So let's see if, again, everybody is wrong. No, everybody's right. Haggle to try and lower the price. Hamper is to make something slower. So when something is hampering a process, it means it is slowing the process down. It is making it more difficult. It is inhibiting it. So a completely different word. I bought this designer jacket for only $20 at a thrift store. It was an absolute tear, haggle, concession, bargain. This should be easy. I don't think we're gonna see any mistakes here. When you get a really good deal, you will call it a tear, a haggle, a concession, or a bargain. Which one makes sense? Again, most people are saying D. Does anybody disagree? Does anybody think it could be something else? I don't see any other answers, so let's proceed to D, bargain. Yes, correct. Well done, guys. Since she was the only one who knew the password, she had a lot of blank during the negotiations. What did she have? Leverage, stalemate, debt, or desire? What did she have? She was the only one who knew the password. So, out of all the people on the team, she was the only one in possession of the password. She held a lot of power in this case. What would be the correct answer? Magdalena thinks it's A. Does anybody else have something to say? Maybe another option. Yatsa agrees with Magdalena and goes for A. Radek, Sarah, Miranda, do you guys have any other options for us? Perhaps B, C, D? Or should we just listen to Yatsa and Magdalena and go for A? Don't be shy to make mistakes. That's something I always say. Even if you give the wrong answer, the point of this is to have fun and learn new things along the way. But I'm not getting any new answers, so I'm just gonna assume that you all agree. Oh, Radek, there we go. Radek says D. She had a lot of desire during the examination, during the negotiations, pardon. D by Dayan, and Miranda says, I don't know that. Miranda, just try your luck. Let's see. let's see what Miranda is gonna choose. Just write A, B, C, or D, and let's see how lucky you are then. After Miranda tells us the letter, we're gonna move on. We're gonna proceed. So once again, she had a lot of leverage, stalemate, debt, or desire. Let's see how lucky Miranda is gonna get. It is something from the lesson with Magdalena. So Magdalena said A. Maybe, yes, A is a bit of an advantage. Let's see if your logic was on point. It was, that's right. So leverage is something that gives you an advantage, that gives you power in negotiations. It comes from the logic of levers, which are essentially the mechanisms that allow you to lift much heavier weight than you otherwise could with your raw strength. So leverage in negotiations is something that gives you power, something that the other side needs, wants, and you can get better conditions because of that. So, as she was the only one who knew the password, other people needed to listen to her and give her what she wanted. Okay, we have a picture. We can describe this paper as what? Soaked, broken, crumpled, or crumbled? Okay, let's find out. Can we soak paper? Can we break paper? Can we crumple it or crumble it? If I had to bet, my money would be on C and D. But only one answer is correct, guys. So let's see if anybody is gonna get it right. Or maybe we'll have only wrong answers, which is fine too. It's completely fine. I'm happy to see wrong answers because it means somebody will have learned something new. Miranda goes for C, Rada goes for C, as well as Dayan. So we have three C's. Any D's or B's? Yatsa says C2. Okay, you guys seem pretty set on C. Sarah and Magdalena have joined, and I think it is pretty clear that C is the correct answer. Paper could technically be soaked if it just absorbs a lot of liquid, a lot of water, but otherwise we don't normally see soaked paper. Crumpled paper, on the other hand, whenever we decide to throw something away, we're just gonna crumple that paper and throw it into the bin. What are these? So focus on whatever is behind this metal rod. Are those flakes, straws, crumbs, or crumps? Something similar to the previous question, but we are talking about something that isn't paper. We are talking about bread. How would you define these little pieces, tiny pieces of bread? Are they flakes, straws, crumbs, or crumps? Again, C. Guys, you really like the letter C. Do you have a favorite letter in the alphabet? I have one, and it is M, for obvious reasons. But I like C too. I do like C because of my lovely fiance. So you guys are saying C. Let's find out. Let's see if you were right. You were, indeed. It was crumbs. So we have breadcrumbs and corn flakes. Those are two different things. Be careful when opening that envelope, or you might accidentally blank the important letter inside. Crumple, crush, crumb, tear. What could you do when opening the envelope? So the envelope is the container in which you put a letter. So when opening the envelope, you should be careful not to crumple the letter, crush it, crumb it, or tear it. Miranda and Roddick are saying D. Okay. Does anybody think differently? Dayan agrees with them. I guess, yeah, it's a 2. Okay, it is D, guys. Well done. Tear, indeed. It was tear. Whenever I face a difficult problem, I know I can blank my best friend to help me out. Do what with the best friend? Count with, count on, count in, or count out. So it is a phrasal verb with count as the main verb. However, what is the correct particle? I face a difficult problem. I can my best friend to help me out. What can you do with your best friend in that case? Can you count with them, count on them, count in them, or count out them? Roddick and Miranda think it's B. Magdalena thinks it's B too. Yatsa thinks it's B. Guys, is this too easy or what? Count on, absolutely. So the other ones exist, but they are used in different contexts. So count in will mean to add somebody to the trip. So count me in for that trip. It means I'm coming. You should include me in the calculation. We were about to book the trip, but James suddenly blanked and decided not to go. He got cold feet, rose to the occasion, hit the hay, or set his heart ablaze. What happened to James that eventually forced him not to go? What makes sense here? Which idiom? We need something that means you suddenly doubt yourself, question whether you are ready for it. It doesn't necessarily mean you cancel the idea, but it means you are questioning it. So in this case, James started questioning his plan and eventually gave up on it. You all think it's A. Let's find out if you guys were correct. You indeed were. Get cold feet. Gas coming from the pot is cold. What is the name of it? Smoke, steam, pothole, or cloud. What is the name of this vapor that is coming out of the pot? What do we call it, guys? Is it smoke? Is it steam, pothole, or cloud? Let's find out. You guys think it's B, steam. All right, let's find out if steam is the correct answer. It is. So the difference between smoke and steam is that steam will always be the vapor of water. It will never have a smell. It will always have this clear white appearance, whereas smoke will usually be more on the gray side. It will contain particles of whatever is burned, and steam can never truly hurt you. Well, at least it is not toxic for your lungs, whereas inhaling smoke could have catastrophic consequences. The twins look so identical that it is almost impossible for their teachers to blank between them. What can't the teachers do? They can't identify between them, they can't distinguish between them, interpret between them, or tear between them. What is the problem the teachers have? Let's see. What could be the problem? Roddick says it's B. Okay, Roddick. Do others agree with you, or do they think it is something else? Well, Magdalena agrees. All right. What about Yatza, Dayan, Miranda? Do you guys think Roddick was right? Yatza thinks so. Let us find out. Dayan thinks it's C, interpret. Let's find out the correct answer. It is distinguish. So to distinguish is to tell the difference. Identify, if we didn't have the preposition between, identify could work, because identify is followed by a direct object. To identify them would make sense. Identify between, not so much. Pleasing is. What does pleasing mean? Satisfying, saying please a lot, repulsive, or humbling. What do you mean when you say pleasing? When you call something pleasing? If I ask, am I pleasing you? Yes, that between confused me. Absolutely. So between was the trick there. It was the thing that ensured only one answer was correct. Uh, Pleasing is satisfying, you guys think. Okay, so you don't think it has anything to do with saying please a lot. I think we should invent another meaning for pleasing, so it means saying please a lot. If we call somebody pleasing, it means they say please, which is a good thing. I need exactly 12 eggs to bake these cakes, so please buy several, a couple, a dozen, a baker's dozen. So we are baking cakes. It's gotta be a baker's dozen, right? Or maybe not. It could be just a regular dozen, or it could be a couple. I mean, 12, right? Several. It's a tough question. Let's see if I manage to trick you here or not. C, okay, 2 C's. Miranda agrees as well. Dayan thinks it's C. Guys, let's find out if you were right. You were. A dozen means 12. A baker's dozen is 13. The story behind it is that the bakers had to match a certain weight. Most of the boxes could fit 12 donuts, but because they had to match the weight and 12 donuts were not sufficient, they would add one extra, and that's how we got the term a baker's dozen. So remember, a dozen is always 12, a baker's dozen is always 13. Let's move on. I've tried calling customer service blank times today, maybe 3 or 4, but nobody has answered the phone yet. A bunch of times, twice times, thrice times, several times. Which one works here? It is a similar question to the previous one. We are talking about quantifiers, how many times an action happened. What would be the correct answer here? A, B, C, or D? Calling the customer service is never a pleasant experience, especially nowadays with AI taking over. It is more annoying than ever. You guys are pretty confident that D is the answer. So let's find out if you were right. You were. Wow. You're not making mistakes tonight. I think last stream there were several mistakes, so you decided not to make any this time. Several is the correct answer. So several means, let's say, between 3 and 7. There is no fixed definition as for a dozen, but obviously a bunch of would imply a much greater number than just several. Twice and thrice, twice is 2 times, thrice is 3 times. So they are very specific. We could describe this type of weather as serious, far-fetched, vague, or gloomy. How can we describe this type of weather? Would we call it as serious weather, vague weather, far-fetched weather, or gloomy weather? Which one sounds the best and makes the most sense here? You guys are going for D. Okay. You don't think this is serious weather. You are serious students. And since everybody has said D, let us find out if everybody was right. Yes, everybody was indeed right. So gloomy is how we would describe dark weather. Also, if a person is gloomy, they are in a bad mood. It's something negative. So these are the gloomy days. His excuse for being late involved a UFO and a traffic jam, which sounded completely blank to his boss. It sounded pleasing, maybe far-fetched, far-reaching, or plausible. What could be the correct answer here, guys? UFOs and traffic jams. I'm not sure I would really believe that if an employee of mine came and told me, oh, I saw a UFO and that's why I'm late now. Doesn't quite work. Oh, still no answers. Maybe this is a tricky one. We had this word, this expression in our Coffee Talk stream. One of the characters from Coffee Talk used this. But what exactly did they say? I'm waiting for your answers. Just to block others, B. Okay, so I guess you meant to say by eliminating others through elimination, you got to B. Sarah thinks it's B, Roddick thinks it's B, Magdalena thinks it's B. Miranda definitely broke the ice with her answer. So let's see if it is going to be B. Dan thinks it's A. Pleasing. I don't think it works grammatically. It works grammatically, but semantically, in terms of logic, not quite. Far-fetched. Far-fetched is something unrealistic, very unrealistic. So if it is a far-fetched story, it's a story that is not plausible. So plausible means believable. If somebody tells me a story and I say, okay, it is plausible, I can understand that. I can believe that. It is possible that actually happened. Far reaching is something that we will use to describe things that will have wide effects. So if we say something will have far-reaching consequences, it means it will affect many people in a negative way. So that is far-reaching. If somebody has a far-reaching influence, it means that they have influence over many people, many areas. And pleasing, we have already explained. The blank child refused to eat his vegetables and threw his toys across the living room. Not good. Was that child evil, obedient, naughty, or pushy? What would be the correct answer here? A child who refuses to eat their vegetables and throws their toys. What do we call that child? An evil child, an obedient child, a naughty child, or a pushy child? Miranda and Magdalena think it's C, and so does Dayan. Okay, 2 C's. I was expecting some A's. But let's see if C is the correct answer. It is. It is the correct answer. So naughty. Evil would be too harsh, too strong in this context. Pushy means you are not respecting the boundaries. We won't really use it with a child. And obedient is when the child listens to its parents. So the child is actually a good child, not a naughty child. Yes, Sarah, I expected you to make that joke, and I can understand why you made it. Question number 21. In many countries, university blank has become so expensive that students must take out large loans. University debt, university leverage, university tuition, or university scholarship. What has become expensive? What do we pay when we go to a university? Do we have to pay debt? Do we have to pay leverage, pay tuition, or scholarship? Miranda thinks it's C. Magdalena agrees. Do we have any other opinions here? So everybody thinks it's C. All right, guys, let's find out if you were right. Tuition, correct. So that is the fee you have to pay for attending usually a private university. Leverage and debt we have already explained previously, and scholarship is actually an amount of money that you get in order to reduce the tuition or have the tuition completely covered by a sponsor. I'm all done for today, so I'm finally going to blank, hit the pillow, hit the hay, hit the sack, or all of the above. What is the correct answer here? I'll be waiting for your answers, guys. Which idiom works well? Is it hit the pillow, hit the hay, hit the sack? Magdalena says it's B. Yatza says it's B. Miranda says it's D. Okay, we have finally some differing opinions. And then Magdalena switches over to D. Okay. You might end up regretting your change. Or maybe not. Maybe it was the right call. Let's find out what the correct answer is. It is D, all of the above. So hit the pillow, hit the sack, hit the hay are all idioms meaning to go to sleep, basically, to go to bed. I would love to buy that luxury sports car, but unfortunately, it would blank. It would cost an arm and a leg, cost a cat and a dog, cost a house and a yard, cost an eye and an ear. So, what would be the correct idiom to describe something that is extremely expensive? Something that really makes you break the bank. So, breaking the bank means spending a lot of money on something. Miranda and Magdalena think it's A. Does anybody think it could be C, D, or B? Diane thinks it's C. Okay. There we go. Sarah thinks it's A. So we're gonna go with A and see if you guys got it right. Yes, you did. Oh, Diane, sorry, I was reading the old chat. You actually got it right. Perfect. It is A. Our vacation plans are still blank as we haven't decided whether to go to the beach or the mountains. What haven't they decided? The plans are still within reach, up in the air, rising to the occasion, or on schedule? If the plans are still not clear, they still don't know what they're going to do, which idiom are we going to use for such uncertain situations? Miranda thinks it's B. Magdalena thinks it's B. Ismail, welcome to the stream. Pleasure to see you again. I hope you enjoy the game and give us some good answers. Yatsa says B. Dan goes for D. Let's find out the answer. It is B, up in the air. So when something is still not clear, it is up in the air. Let's find out if you guys are gonna make any mistakes. That question is still up in the air. What is this in the picture? A napkin, a straw, a stick, or a tube? Which answer is correct here? A, B, C, or D? Be careful not to make a mistake. It might look easier than it really is. We have two B's from Magdalena and Miranda. Dayan agrees with them. Yatsa does too, so I think it's safe to say B is the answer. Ismail thinks it's D. Perfect. Let's see what the correct answer is. It is B, a straw. A tube would be too general. So a tube is essentially a hollow structure that allows us to transfer liquid. So while from a structural point, a straw is a tube, nobody would call this a tube because tube is too vague, too general. This is a drinking straw. A drinking straw. What is this? We have some vocabulary now. What do we call this item in the picture? A receipt, not a receipt. Remember, the P is silent. A receipt, a ticket, a textbook, or a bill. What could this be? I'm sure that some of you will get this wrong. I'm counting on that. Let's see if you're gonna get it right or not. The one in the picture is from Serbia, so some of the words you see on there are in Serbian. Katie says A. Welcome, Katie. Magdalena says A. So does Miranda, Yatsa, Dayan. Everybody thinks it's A, including Ismail. So let's find if receipt is the correct answer. That's right. This is a receipt, not to be confused with a bill. So the bill shows how much you need to pay. That's why you get your electricity bill at the end of the month. you ask for a bill at a restaurant so you know how much you need to pay, but after paying, the waiter will print a receipt for you so you have a proof that you have paid. That is the difference between a receipt and a bill. Great job, folks. What are these? What do we call them? Tissues, napkins, folders, or plates? What do we call this pile? This is a pile of what? I said A. Yes, yes, absolutely, Ismail. I said including Ismail. So it meant you were part of the A group. What about now, though? What is the correct answer here? The correct letter. Magdalena thinks it's B. Ismail says A. Katie says A. And Miranda says, Katie says B. And Miranda says B. And so does Greg. Welcome, Greg. Let's see if you guys are correct. Yatza and Sarah, Dayan, most people think it's B. Is it B? Yes, it is. These are the napkins. So they will usually be a bit thicker and more robust than tissues. Tissues will be sold at kiosks in those small containers that you can put in your pocket, and you're going to use the tissues when you catch a cold. So if you have a runny nose, you're going to blow your nose into tissues which are softer and smell nice. On the other hand, napkins will often be in different colors, used for decoration, and you're gonna wipe your mouth with napkins. So you're gonna get napkins when at a fast food restaurant, for example. During the movie, the person sitting behind me was loudly blank on popcorn, which was very distracting. Something you shouldn't do when you are watching movies with other people. Was the person slurping, yapping, munching, or haggling? What is the correct answer here? They were doing that on popcorn. What can we do with popcorn? Can we slurp them? Can we yap them? Can we munch them or haggle them? Which verb is correct? Let's find out. It's a tricky one, not an easy one. Let's see what works best. We have three C's almost at the same time. Miranda was the quickest though, and everybody thinks it's munching. Does anybody think it could be yapping, haggling, or slurping? Sarah and Dayan agree with everyone else, and so does Ismail. Excellent. And Yatza thinks it's C. Yes, munching. Munching is that audible eating, the sound of eating that others can hear. So I hope you guys heard that. Or maybe I hope you didn't hear it. But that is munching. Slurping would be the audible drinking. So when you are drinking something and others can hear it, you are slurping. When eating and others can hear it, you are munching. You are chewing loudly. Yapping, like we said, an informal term for talking, and haggling, trying to lower the price, usually in a rude way. Which word best describes the circle in the road? So we are not talking about the liquid inside the circle, but the structure itself. Is it a crater, a pond, a bollard, or a pothole? What would be the name of this? I hope you don't have those in your country, but unfortunately in Serbia, you will see them quite a bit, especially in more rural parts of the country. But I hope that you don't see them often in Mexico. Magdalena says B. I hope it's not because you have many ponds in Mexico. What do the others think? Guys, I'm waiting for the answers. Yatsa says A, a crater. Sarah says D, a pothole. What about Katie, Greg, Miranda? Guys, I'm waiting for your answers. So far, we have three different answers. Dan says D, so we have two Ds. We have one A and one B. Does anybody think it could be something else? I guess nobody has the courage to give us an answer. So we shall reveal it and see who got it right. Let's find out then. The correct answer is 3, 2, 1. The pothole. Yes, pothole. You corrected yourself at the last moment, Magdalena. This is a pothole. A pond could not be correct because a pond is a larger body of water. It is more permanent. Puddle, this would be a puddle. The water that is inside this pothole is a puddle, and it is the water that is left after a heavy rainfall. But puddles will dry out in a matter of hours or days. Ponds are more permanent, they are larger, and they will usually stay active at least for the entire season, if not throughout the year. And then the larger body of water compared to a pond is a lake. So you can remember puddles are the smallest, then ponds are the medium size, and lakes are the largest body of water that is surrounded by land. It is not connected to the sea and by extension, the oceans. So bollards are those raised structures that separate the road from the sidewalk, and they prevent cars from getting on the sidewalk. Ponds, we have explained. Craters are very large holes formed by sometimes even asteroids, but potholes are the holes in roads. C, I don't know what it is, so I will go for D. Okay, so you went for D. That was correct. C, like I said, I can show you guys a picture just so we make sure you understand. I think you can see the bollards here. So these are the bollards. They stop cars from getting to certain points. Yes, like here, for example. These vertical structures are bollards. Let's go back to our lovely quiz. Different sections of the road are called what? So who got it right previously? Sarah was the first one to give us D as the answer. Great job, Sarah. Different sections of the road are called what? Cross drives, lanes, highways, or lines? What do we call different sections of the road? So each one of these is one what? This is the left what, the middle what, and the right what. The left cross drive, the left lane, the left highway, or the left line. What are the rules about this? Magdalena thinks it's D, lines. So we have lines on the road. Katie thinks it's B, lanes. Okay. Do we have anyone else with an opinion? I'm out. It is late for me. Yes, I know that it is late in Georgia. Thank you for joining, Miranda. We only have 6 or 7 more questions, so we'll be out soon as well. Thank you so much for joining. Great job. You have performed incredibly well, and you haven't made any mistakes. The 2 times you were not sure about the answer, you guessed correctly. So W's in the chat for Miranda. Ismail says D, Yatsa B, Dayan D. Let's find out. B or D? B, lanes. So even though lines are the continued ways, lanes are the structures of the road. So you will have always at least one lane, and then if you separate that road into multiple lanes, you might have traffic with opposing lanes that go in different directions. But yes, remember these are the lanes, not lines. The raised part separating sidewalk from the road, so this part here, what do we call it? Ditch, guardrail, curb, or fence? What do we call this part? So this is the sidewalk, this is the road, this elevated part is what? Is it a ditch, a guardrail, a curb, or a fence? A, B, C, or D, folks. Let's hear you. Katie says it is C, curb. Okay. Does anybody have a different opinion? Some other ideas? Sarah agrees. It is C. Magdalena Yatsa Dayan. Magdalena says C. Yatsa thinks it's a ditch. Okay. Ismail says C. Perfect. It is C. Curb. Yes. So this is the curb. It is the raised part or the edge, the end of the sidewalk. A ditch is a structure that allows water to drain. So it will be a very narrow, deep area, a deep trench for water irrigation. So the water can move away. This is a ditch. I can show you a picture. So this is a ditch. This is an example of a ditch. I hope you guys can see it. Those are some examples of ditches. But that was a curb in the picture. Guardrails are next to your staircases or on bridges. So they make sure that somebody doesn't fall from a structure. Which word best describes the striped lines? Crossroad, jaywalk, crosswalk, or walking line? What do we call this structure that allows pedestrians to cross from one side to the other? What is the name of this structure, guys? Let's find out. Magdalena says C. Ismail says C. Okay, guys, Ismail and Magdalena are leading the charge here with crosswalk. Does anybody think it could be something else? Maybe crossroads, jaywalks? Dayan and Yatsa agree that it is C, not the walking line, right? Okay, let's find out. Is it A, B, C, or D? It was C. Yes, correct. So this is the crosswalk. Sometimes you might hear people call it the pedestrian crossing, but in short, just call it a crosswalk. She drew a on a piece of paper. Oh, guys, we are getting really close to the end. I think we only have 3 more questions, 4 more questions perhaps. I know because this is something grammar based. She drew a tiny red beautiful house, beautiful tiny red house, beautiful red tiny house, tiny beautiful red house. This is about the adjective order. So if you guys have watched my YouTube video, you'll know the correct answer. Let's see. What is the correct adjective order? Magdalena thinks it's B. Sarah says it is B. And Katie agrees that it is B. So you guys think that it is beautiful, tiny, red, and then the noun. So you think it is opinion, size, color, and then the noun. Let's find out. Ismail agrees. And you guys were right. Good job. So that is exactly how it works. He was driving an car when I saw him yesterday. Old Italian fantastic, Italian fantastic old, fantastic Italian old, fantastic old Italian. Oh, it's hard. It's like a riddle. Which one is correct? Pay close attention. What is the correct answer here, guys? A, B, C, or D? Pay attention. I know that it can look tricky because all the adjectives are mixed up. Magdalena and Katie say D. Sarah says A. Okay. And Yadza says A. Diane says D. So we have split opinions. Let us find out who got it right. The D team. Why? Because fantastic is an opinion, just like beautiful was previously. Opinion adjectives will always come first, and then we can talk about the fact adjectives and their order. So it is going to be size before the color, and it's going to be age before the origins. So fantastic old Italian, opinion, age, origins. Great job, guys. Let's move on to the penultimate question. This is the penultimate. Remember, that means second to last, right before the last one. So we will only have one more question following this. Despite the heavy rain, the delivery driver refused blank the package on the front porch without a signature. Leaving, leave, to leave, left. So gerund versus infinitives. We have spoken about this a lot. Is it A, B, C, or D? Did the driver refuse leaving? Did he refuse leave? Did he refuse to leave? Or he left the package? Magdalena says C. What do the others think? Katie says A. Okay. Perfect. And Ismail says C. Perfect. So we have three different opinions. We're waiting for Sarah to come up with her answer because we covered this topic together with Sarah when she was in the hot seat. Let's find out whether it should be gerund or infinitive. So Sarah has told us C, right? And Greg and Dayan say D. Oh, I love this. So it is getting interesting at the very end. We have different opinions, but the correct answer is C. So good job, Sarah. Your stream appearance paid off. To leave, refuse is always followed by infinitives. So refuse to do something. I refuse to leave. It means I'm not leaving. I refuse to let you guys something. I refuse this or that. But it is always going to be an infinitive, not the past simple, not the bare infinitive without to, and not the gerund. So keep that in mind. Refuse plus infinitives. The final question, guys, where am I from? I don't know why my picture is so tiny, but I've mentioned many times, you should know the answer. I'm not even gonna read the options. You guys should know the answer to this question. Where am I from? You should know where I am from. So when you use the embedded question, then the structure changes. The direct question is, where am I from? The embedded question would be where I am from. You guys know where I am from. Yatsa knows that. Katie knows that. Or so they think. Maybe they don't know. Okay, Greg, Magdalena, Ismail. You guys know me. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But maybe you're all wrong and I was lying to you. Maybe I'm actually a native speaker. No, I am not. Sarah is implying that I may be a native speaker. Thank you for that compliment. I'll take that as a compliment, but I am from Serbia. Everybody, a great job. Big W's for everyone in the chat. I think that your performance tonight was better than last time. I don't know if it was because the questions were easier. What do you guys think? Was it easier than last time? Tell me in the chat. Right, harder or easier than last time? I'm curious to know. Should I make the questions harder? Because in a way, I'm very happy you are giving me correct answers. But at the same time, I like when people make mistakes so I can correct them. It is the duality of men. Yes, that's right. Well-deserved W's for everyone. Perfect. Yes, bravo, Sarah. Yeah, yeah. But it should be brava, brava with an A. Because for some reason, the Italians like using gendered numbers, gender exclamations, actually, because bravo is just an exclamation, nothing else. Tell me, guys, was it more difficult or easier? Ismail says it's better. Thank you so much, Ismail. I'm happy to hear that it is improving. So I'll try to create an even better quiz next time we meet with more pictures and more different questions. I think the that question about pronunciation was a good one. Correct. Yes. Bravo, Sarah. Excellent. Well, W's in the chat for this Italian by Yatza. So, what about others? Greg, Sarah, Magdalena, Ismail, Katie. Ismail is the only one who answered my question. Thank you, Ismail. What do you guys think about this? Was it hard? Was it easy? I'm waiting for the final feedback. Thanks. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. But you haven't answered my question. Why are you boycotting my question? Thank you and well done, Sarah. Nobody's answering my question. Guys, was it easier or harder than last time? Please answer that question. I think you are trolling me. I swear to God. You are just having fun in the chat, talking to each other. Nobody's paying attention to me, the poor teacher. I'm still gonna ask, was it harder or easier than last time? It was a piece of cake. There we go. Thank you, Magdalena. So it needs to get harder. Okay, half and half. Thank you for responding. Yes, that is the point, of course, having some easier and more difficult questions. Obviously, we have recently covered most of the vocabulary and grammar structures, so you're naturally going to do well because they are still fresh in your mind. And Sarah thinks it was easier. Okay, we'll see what happens next time. There were some difficult ones. Okay, stay tuned. We're going to have another round of speaking classes and coffee talk streams for vocabulary. And then following that, we are going to have another revision. So stay tuned, guys. Keep watching. Thank you so much for joining. And I wish everyone in Europe, Asia, and Africa a good night, and all the folks in the Americas a good afternoon. Take care. See you soon.